How do you end up with two lifts in your garage? Questionable life decisions. Basically, these two lifts are identical. The biggest difference between the two is the auto locking mechanism. My concern was like the lowest locking point. So first point is 19 inches. That's 24. Is that 27 3/4? 31 1/2, 35 1/4, and 39, and 42 3/4. But this is the last welded lock on the back side of the carriage post here. So I'm going to call that maximum lift, which is about on par with where the MaxJax highest perch is. With the MaxJax, you basically have two factory safe positions. Pinhole there, pinhole there. I mean, you can park the lift anywhere in between. However, if something fails, these are your only two fail safes. So these are the two lock points. From the base, roughly 25 1/2 inches for the first point and 41 3/4 inches. This car is roughly 16 inches off of the ground as it sits. Then to unlock it, you have to lift the weight off the locks, pull your pin in this one, and then on the M6, on the back side here, they have the lock mechanism or the lock pin, and then you flip this up, which would essentially kick the pin off of the, or kick the pin away from the lock, and then the carriage would ride down past it. Same basic design, same pistons. So far as I can tell, the fittings are identical. The mounting pattern seems to be the same. At this point in time, I have not tried hooking up the power unit from my MaxJax to my M6 to find out if they are indeed. The power units themselves appear to be identical. They've changed the design a little bit. They've beefed up the carriage a little bit, which seems to be kind of in line with what they've done on the carriages down here. They've beefed up the M6 compared to the old MaxJax here. I've got the manuals out here, specifically because I wanted to point out the certification. So the M6 has it, and the MaxJax does not. There is no certification here. We'll start with differences in the carriages. So we've got a piece of square, or not square, but box steel. Looks like it's about quarter inch wall. The arm forks over it, so you would pull the pin and then slide the arm over it, kind of like so, and then drop the pin down. It's considerably thicker. We have a different style pin here, and our carriage is a little bit taller because the arm fits inside the carriage on this one. It goes kind of in that orientation here. And then we've got our swing arm locks here. So the swing arm lock is considerably larger on the M6 compared to the MaxJax. On the arm itself, the tooth wheel is welded, and on the M6 it is bolted, and it's a little bit thicker. Let's see, so versus that. They've strengthened the support here. Comes up, wraps around the pin now, and goes down further along the arm. It's 1/4 inch versus 3/16. It looks like it's more than 1/8, but definitely less than the 1/4. And it comes further down the arm here. Also, they've changed the reinforcement at the toe. You kind of see it's a little small reinforcement down here. And it wraps around underneath like that down. So wraps down there. Much larger space to reinforce on the M6 arm. The sliding arms appear to be basically identical. Yeah, I don't think they've changed that at all. That's basically the same. Yeah. Aside from that, the pins, so the drop-in pins, what diameter is? Did it change? No. Okay. So the diameter seems to be the same, but the pin is larger, greater distance to cover. They changed the pin style, so this one has a little ball, spring ball lock like that, versus the old MaxJax, It's got a circlip right here, so you drop the pin in and then throw a circlip in here. The new design is nice. I dig the T-handle, and if you wish, you can lock the shaft and take the T-handles off. That's basically it. I guess lastly, you know, if you are going to keep them mobile and keep the wheels on them, the M6 has a permanently installed handle versus the MaxJax. You just use the locking pin for your handles. I have been pinched by these, so you do kind of have to be a little bit careful when you're using that to, you know, handle your lift. Danmar MaxJax versus side by side with the Danmar M6. If anybody has any more questions that I haven't answered, that I haven't thought of, absolutely hit me up in the comments section, and I will address them as best I can. I'll probably update the video at some point in time, pull my power unit up and run the M6 just static. Ideally, you'd want to load on the piston to bleed it proper, so that might wait until I get them anchored in. The Danmar MaxJax, I've had that one for a couple of years. It's been fantastic. Is it worth it? Absolutely yes. If your slab is thick enough to handle it, absolutely do it in a heartbeat. I would even agree it's worth it to, if you haven't moved into your space, cut a big old hole to pour a slab that is sturdy enough to handle your lift, or to handle a 2-post lift, which is the case I'm in right now. How do you end up with 2 lifts in your garage? What happened was when I got the MaxJax, I had a bunch, helped a bunch of friends with their cars, small jobs, doing suspension bushings, brake jobs, building exhausts. I helped a friend with an electric conversion. I built another friend's race bug. But then I put my long-term project on it and rendered it unavailable. So all the smaller jobs, brake jobs, oil changes, pulling the oil pan, little things that lifting the car up for a couple hours and then dropping it back down would be kind of ideal. I missed every time I had one of those jobs, I'd open up the garage to get to my toolbox, walk past the lift, holding my car up, and think, man, if I hadn't put my project on it, this would be super handy for this small job that I wanted to do. So when I bought the new place here, I ended up budgeting in for a second lift. So now I've got my long-term project lift and my short-term project lift. And I had a friend who had purchased this lift beforehand, installed it in their garage, and ended up putting a hole at 16 inches down here. And I was like, man, that's really fantastic. Put it in my lift, and what a difference. 16 inches is kind of a fantastic height. What does 16 inches look like? It looks like that. This car is roughly 16 inches off of the ground as it sits. And why is this so amazing? Well, if you happen to have a stool or a folding creeper, you have a seat and you roll up to your car, your suspension is now right here. And I can reach everything. This is super convenient. I'm not leaning over too far. I'm not trying to reach up. So this is, at least for me, this height is kind of ideal.